A new book out this week explores the life of Joe Biden, the 46th president of the United States, through the lens of his family. Politico's Ben Schreckinger is the author of The Bidens, Inside the First Family's 50-Year Rise to Power. And Ben joins me now from Washington to talk more about his book. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. I guess my first question is, what prompted you, what inspired you to start writing about the Biden family?
Good morning. Well, I started writing about the business dealings of Hunter Biden as well as Joe Biden's younger brother, one of his younger brothers, Jim Biden, way back in the summer of 2019. And I found a number of incidents in which there were scandals, questions of favorable treatment surrounding some of their business dealings going all the way back to the 1970s. I really thought that would be the last time I ever wrote on the subject, but I continue to get new tips and leads. Hunter's work with Burisma ended up being at the center of a presidential impeachment. And so here we are with Joe Biden as president, and this is the first time the story of his family has ever been told in full.
Is this going to be a book full of salacious details that President Biden is not going to like reading, or is it a light shined on the family that's a pleasant one?
You know, I try to tell the story in a holistic way. President Biden is a very busy man, so he probably won't be taking time out of his schedule to read this book. There are, a lot of salacious details that are especially a part of Hunter Biden's life. Most of those details in the book come from his memoir, which was a great resource. But there's a lot in there about that. There's a lot in there about the business dealings, especially. But there's a lot in there that is, pretty endearing about this family. They've suffered a lot of tragedies. They're extremely close. Their love for each other is completely genuine. And that's what the American people ultimately saw when they decided to elect Joe Biden and make his family the first family of the United States.
Ben, as you know, the Department of Justice continues its investigation into Hunter Biden's finances, and the FBI also seized a laptop in 2019 that they believe belongs to him. In an interview with CBS News that aired in April, Hunter said he had no idea whether the laptop belonged to him, but he did acknowledge there was a real possibility that it could be his. So let's play a bit of that interview.
Did you leave a laptop with a repairman in Wilmington? Not that you remember.
No. But whether or not somebody has my laptop, whether or not I was hacked, whether or not there exists a laptop at all, I truly don't know.
Are you missing a laptop?
Not that I know of.
So where do things stand with that investigation, and what more has been uncovered about what that laptop contains?
That federal investigation centered out of Delaware is ongoing as far as anybody knows. It's being led by David Weiss, who actually figures pretty prominently in this book because he has a long history in Delaware as a prosecutor, has investigated over the decades several people close to the Bidens. And so his story is a very interesting one. In terms of the laptop, what I was able to find in the course of researching this book is corroboration for parts of this cache of leaked files, including someone who had independent access to Hunter Biden's emails for a time, says, yes, he did receive an email from a Burisma representative thanking Hunter for the opportunity to meet his father. And yes, he did receive an email including a proposed equity breakdown for a venture with some Chinese energy executives that included the line 10 held for H by the big guy. Those were two of the most controversial alleged emails from last October's leak. And I was also able to authenticate some of the other emails that didn't make the news, but that just showed that there is at least some authentic material in this leak.
You also talk about Biden's, quote, Delaware way of doing things, something that started when he was first elected in the Senate in 1972. Can you explain what this means, and do you believe he continues to take the same approach as president?
Well, the Delaware way is a very important concept for understanding Joe Biden. It's something that he has explicitly touted as a model for what he thinks Washington should get back to. And the Delaware way essentially means a sort of cozy, bipartisan way of getting things done, not an adversarial form of politics. He and his aides have said that that's a good thing, and that Joe Biden sort of helped invent the Delaware way in Delaware. Delaware Way has its critics in Delaware, too. David Weiss, that same prosecutor who's currently investigating Hunter Biden, once called it a form of soft corruption in a filing in a case that he prosecuted. And so there are people who view this as a great way of doing things. And then it has some pretty harsh critics who essentially say it amounts to cronyism.
Something that we've heard a lot about in Biden's speeches and in the way he approaches things is his personal history and the tragedies that shaped him. We know that his wife and daughter died in a car crash in the 70s. He lost his son, Beau, to cancer more recently. How have those tragedies that he's suffered defined his life?
Well, in the immediate sense of, the loss of loved ones, and they've also helped define his relationship to the public. This is somebody who has an incredible connection to people he meets for the first time, especially people who have recently suffered loss. Someone who probably more often than any other top national political figure is asked to speak at funerals because of the loss that he's experienced. I attended a couple of the remembrances for Beau Biden as a member of the press back in 2015. And it was incredible. It felt as if the entire state of Delaware had come out and as if they were all sort of one part of a larger family, part of the Biden family in that state.
Well, Ben Schreckinger, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And we want to remind everyone you can get your own copy of The Bidens, available now online and in stores.